Professor Dr. Pradeep. Professor Dr. Pradeep, shall I begin?
Sir. Yes, sir, you can, sir.
Okay. So, good evening to all of you, my dear fellow professors, teachers, colleagues, friends, students, and well-wishers. A warm welcome with a modest good evening from Sri Lanka. Modern trends in teaching English language is almost the need of the hour when most of us are filled with fear since AI is almost replacing everything. And we are for sure that AI will slowly replace us, the teachers of English. Therefore, today's lecture by Professor Dr. Pradeep S. Raj will enlighten us into further avenues on the challenges and the modus operandi of how things can be done vitally in our classroom. I'm sure that most of you are familiar with Professor Dr. S. Pradeep Raj. But then, he is very new to us in Sri Lanka, and I hope we people from Sri Lanka will have to learn a lot from this great giant who is well versed, who is a master craftsman in the art of teaching English. Sir, I humbly welcome you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. And now, for a formal introduction of Professor Dr. S. Pradeep Raj, I invite my fourth year student, Mr. Kushanta Supam, to introduce her to the audience in this online lecture.
Thank you, sir. So, good evening, all of you. I'm Krishanta, fourth year undergraduate from Department of Languages and Communication Studies, Trincomalee Campus, Eastern University, Sri Lanka. So, it's my privilege to introduce our guest speaker today. Dr. Pradeep S. Raj works as an assistant professor of English at Christu Jayanti College Autonomous, Bangalore. He has completed his graduation from St. Jude's College, Tutur, and his master's and MPhil in English Language and Literature from St. Joseph's College Autonomous, Trichy, and his PhD in English Language Teaching from Bharatiyar University. He also has his bachelor's degree in education from Tamil Nadu Teacher Education University. He has the TESOL certification from American TESOL Institute. He is also certified IELTS trainer from the British Council and IDP International. He has got 14 years of teaching and training in different parts of the country and abroad, as well as 2 years of industry experience. So he also served as HOD of English and Faculty of English in various institutions. He was the recipient of Inspirational Young Faculty Award from Amaravati Research Academy, Andhra Pradesh, and the Best Faculty Award from the Indian Academic Researchers Association in Tiruchirappalli, Tamil Nadu. He also published research articles in national and international journals. He is a member of English Language Teachers Association of India and a lifetime member of Ruth Institute International for Team-Centered Interaction. He is a life skills trainer. He also acted as a resource person for many programs. He is a mimicry artist, actor, and also a poet by passion. So welcome, sir. Dr. Now floor is open for Dr. Pradeep Esraj. Thank you.
Okay. Can I share my screen?
Sure, sir. That's why I've made you a co-host.
Yeah. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good evening to one and all gathered here. It's my immense pleasure to be a part of this academic deliberation this evening. First of all, I thank the organizers for bringing me for this academic deliberation. And thank you for once again for the participants for being at this late evening to attend this wonderful seminar. And I'm so happy that the topic that I'm going to talk today is much relevant for the current generation students as well as teachers. So nowadays we live in a world that is it's a race. So English language, when we talk about English language teaching, we think about two things. One is grammar, another thing is pronunciation, and other structural and other things. But nowadays it's something different from what we expect. So we have to run with the expectation of the learners. We are running day by day with the expectation of the learners. So in those days, we had to English teachers of English were egoistic, okay, in delivering the lectures and other things. Nowadays, we are in a position that so we have to know what is the expectation of the learners and what they look for. That means we have to be updated with a lot of methods and technologies as we live in the world of artificial intelligence. So natural intelligence could not dominate the artificial intelligence. And moreover, the learners are artificial intelligence centric. So we also have to know the tools, and we also know the approaches and methods in English language teaching when we deal with multicultural and multilingual atmosphere. English language teaching is constantly evolving day by day as per the changing needs of the learners in a globalized and digitalized world. The modern trends in English language teaching focuses on improving language acquisition. So through learner engagement, cultural awareness, and personalized approaches and other things. So here, the major thing is, and these are some of the trends that creates awareness for the teachers as well as for the students. And what is important? What is important in this particular approach? It aimed to create a holistic and effective learning environment. So creating an effective learning environment is quite challenging for current generation teachers because we are dealing with Gen Z learners. Even within the same century, we have to split into three different parts. So we were working with traditional approaches, and there is nothing wrong in the approach. There is nothing wrong in the traditional approach, but what happens here is the question is whether the learners are ready to understand the things what we try to teach. So we have to come out of this traditional approaches we need to focus on certain approaches as per the modern learners require. So here, the major and important thing in this is technology enhanced learning. That is what is expected by the learners of the Gen Z. So the certain digital platforms and apps, we have nowadays we have a lot of other things like assessment apps and other things. It is more than that of the handwritten assignments, handwritten assessments, hand corrections. So we have learning management systems, platforms like Moodle, Canvas, and Google Classroom, organize content, track process, and facilitate collaboration. Then apart from that, we also have language learning apps like tools like Duolingo. Most of you must be aware of Duolingo, because nobody wants to learn a language with a teacher nowadays. Is whenever, even if it is a foreign language classroom, or even if it is a foreign language training, or even if it is in English as a second language classrooms, what happens here is people will not focus much on this. So here, what happens? The learners will say, okay, I can learn this language with the help of Duolingo. And what happens here? In this situation, we English language teachers, we have to run with the technologies. We have to compete with the technologies, or we have to compete with the applications. We have to compete with the learning management systems. That means we should be familiar with the modern trends. So to tools like Duolingo, Memrise, and Rosetta Stone, they offer gamified learning experiences for vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. And apart from that, it is very important to talk about artificial intelligence, the role of artificial intelligence. Nowadays, we are in a situation that even we do not know anything about ourselves. If you ask the questions, who am I? Artificial intelligence will have its own description. So we will be following without analyzing anything. So here we are letting the artificial intelligence to dominate. And it is also, it is a threat in many times, the artificial intelligence. It is a boon, or sometimes it can be a threat as well as a curse. Because what will happen is we never let our mind to act according to our thought process. What happens? We look into every information with the help of tools, chatbots, virtual assistants like ChatGPT and those kind of things. So what is the need for this? So here, the purpose of that is it can reduce the burden of reference. It can reduce the burden of reference. But what exactly is happening when we reduce the burden of reference? That the creativity which we are holding within ourselves is not assessed properly. Not assessed properly. And also, some of the applications, it do assessment. So based on with the help of conversational practice, moreover, some international examination, more than human evaluators nowadays, computer-based evaluations. Sometimes non-human examiners used to be there to assess the language. And during this lockdown or during this pandemic situation, all these technological advancements were very much popular. It was a challenge for the teachers. If we do not know the technology, or if we do not get updated with the technological advancements, it is very difficult for us to survive in the teaching profession. So we had online and hybrid models. Nowadays, it reduces the burden of the institution sometimes. Sometimes we will not get the effectiveness of offline programs. So here, all these technological advancements, and only during the pandemic situation, we got to know about the concept called online and hybrid models. We activated more. We activated Zoom and other efforts. like people have reduced a lot of the language training institutes. They reduced paying rent in the shops, shops and offices, and they established an online platform so that they can do the training and of English language and other foreign languages easily. And we have Teams, and we have Edmodo enable remote teaching. But the fact is, and all requires network connectivity. And even we are able to, even we are we are away from the country, or we are able to connect within ourselves. We can see each other. But the thing is, there is a challenge for English teaching. And so here, these online platforms are helping us, this technological enhanced learning. Hybrid models combine face-to-face and online instruction for flexibility and accessibility. So most of these hybrid models. So many times some advanced learners and advanced teachers, they entertain this kind of this kind of methods or this kind of technology enhanced programs. But it is not same with those who are not well versed with the technology. But what we have to think about is what the situation demands or what the learners require. So our task is we have to implement task-based learning so that the learners who are in the process of learning will get it some interesting. And nobody wants to sit in a classroom for more than 50 minutes with the traditional approaches. Because nowadays teachers, we are in a we have a great challenge that we have to complete the portions, we have to complete the syllabus, and many times we fail to understand the task-based teaching methods. Because our task is, we think that, okay, we have to complete the syllabus, we have to complete the portions, wherein we fail to understand one important thing, that is whether we meet the expectation of the learners, whether we are able to do justice towards our learners. That is very important. That is the reason why we have to focus much on technology enhanced learning as well. And moreover, in those days, if you happen to look at the traditional periods, so we interact physically with people. Nowadays, the current generation is like this. Nobody is having the courage to talk to their own friends, even through phones. They are very much comfortable in texting them. They are very much comfortable in listening to the online platforms. But in those days, it wasn't the same. So here, people interaction with people is getting reduced. So here, there is a greatest thing what we teachers can do is we have to bring back the students or the learners to our world. If we want to bring back the students to our world, what we need to do is we have to also know how to enter into their world. Unless and until you know the pathway to enter into their world, you cannot get them back to your world of learning and teaching. That is very important. That is why technology enhanced learning is very important for the current generation learners. Then this is the most important thing, that is communicative and task-based learning. So communicative language teaching. So, Professor William Littlewood was very particular about the communicative language teaching. This approach focuses on the 4 skills, and it aims at the fluency and confidence. And it also motivates the learners to involve in group discussions, role plays, and debates. So here, now most of the ELT approaches are focusing upon communicative and task-based learning. And if you happen to go towards task-based language teaching, so it involves completing meaningful tasks. It can be in the form of games, it can be in the form of activities. So we have to give a time bound. It should be time bound. We plan the events, or we solve certain problems to develop language skills naturally. Sometimes group discussions. group discussions in general. So what most of the professors, most of the teachers, when you conduct group discussions for the placement or something, what happens? It ends up with a kind of argument. So here, the group discussion evaluates all the basic skills except writing. So here, listening, only through listening you will be able to deliver what you wanted to convey to the group. Then number two, that is speaking. That is the way how your communicative competency is assessed. Then reading. So reading can be anything. It is not that reading a script from the text. It is also reading from what people say. So these kind of things are very important in our current modern trends in English language teaching. The next thing is gamification. So gamification, it refers to integrating game-like elements into non-gaming contexts such as education. In English language teaching, gamification enhances learner engagement, motivation, and retention by making learning enjoyable and interactive. So it helps us to integrate game elements like points, levels, and leaderboards to motivate the learners. So if, say, for example, platforms like Kahoot, Quiz, and Classcraft, they make learning engaging and interactive. Because nowadays, the learners are expecting the class to be entertaining. It doesn't mean that the teachers can go and dance and sing, but we also have to give justice towards, that is, making them to understand the concept with modern technology or modern methods. So gamification. So these kind of gamification and other things, what will happen is it will help the learners to bring out their creativity, and that will motivate them, that will add more confidence to the learners, and as well as it will be a good training for the teachers as well. So nowadays, teachers in the ESL classrooms, they are not the teachers, they are learning facilitators. They are learning facilitators, and what they do is every classroom is a learning for them. It is not a teaching, it is a learning for the teachers as well as for the students. The teacher is learning and making the students how to learn. So you are molding them how to learn. You are not teaching directly to learn. You are teaching them how to learn. That is very important. Then personalization and adaptive learning. So when we talk about personalization and adaptive learning, automatically we have to talk about AI, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence and data analytics, they customize learning paths based on individual strengths and weaknesses. So here, anybody can use artificial intelligence, but what we need to extract from artificial intelligence, what we need to extract from that, we should have a basic knowledge. Without a basic knowledge, we cannot search anything from that. For that, teachers have to mold them. Teachers have to motivate them. Then personalized feedback and resources cater to diverse learner needs. It requires personalized feedbacks. Nowadays, feedbacks plays a vital role in ASL classroom. And what kind of feedbacks we are giving as teachers of English? So it should be a personalized feedback, and this feedback must be positive feedbacks. We have to apply, even there are negatives, we should not focus on that. We have to focus on the positive things to motivate the students. Because if we keep on giving negative feedbacks, what happens? The confidence which the learner has will be lost. And another thing is, the attitude level of the students nowadays, it is very challenging for the teachers. They are not like yesterday's. They are different. So the attitude level is also different. So we have to understand, and it is a balance between student and teacher. We should have a good rapport with the students, especially in the matter of academic deliberations. So here, understanding the teacher's intention is very important for the learners, and understanding the expectation of the students That is very important for the teachers. And especially in ESL classrooms, we have to focus much on this. Say, for example, when an English teacher is teaching for commerce graduates, English is the only period they expect some relaxation. So that relaxation is not just teachers should stand there telling some stories and coming out. So we have to engage in the class, in the ESL, typical ESL atmosphere with modern technologies, with modern approaches, so that children or the students or the learners will not get bored with the teaching. They should not feel that the teacher is teaching. They feel that the teacher is interacting with them. But in the meantime, the lesson what we try to update, the lesson which we try to upload in their minds, that also will be done. So we have to focus much on the modern learning methodologies, the modern learning approaches. That's very important in our current days. Now, the next thing is multilingualism and translanguaging. So these are all the two concepts, basic concepts, which is very popular nowadays. So here, translanguaging is a teaching and learning approach where bilingual or multilingual individuals, they use all their language resources, flexibility and interchangeability in order to communicate, learn and understand. Now the problem, the basic concept called localization. I understand. I feel that most of you are aware of this term, globalization. Globalization plus localization. There's a combination of these two. Because every nation, what happens? Every state, every nation, English keeps on changing, which is getting molded by or modified by the influence of the local language. So here, later on, we try to engage with those things. So it is also a connecting factor towards the learners. It is, it leads us towards cross-cultural interaction. And translanguaging challenges the traditional notion of treating languages as separate entities, and instead views them as a part of a single integrated linguistic system. If we talk about the term, it was first coined by St. Williams and in the year 1980 in the context of Welsh English bilingual education. Nowadays, if you happen to go as English teachers anywhere in the globe, they expect us to have some basic knowledge about the culture and the local language. Because even the language English is something, if you go to the etymological background of this, it underwent a lot of changes. It is a blend of many other languages. We borrowed a lot of phrases from different languages. So here, when you are, it is an international lingua franca. What happens is, so we are supposed to teach this language with the modern approaches. That's very important. Either you use bilingual concept. So over time, because we have to understand the level of the learners first of all. And over a time period, it has evolved into a broader concept which encompasses how the speakers naturally navigate and blend their languages in various contexts. So here, we also involve in assessing the learners, their skills. So it encourages the strategic use of learners' first languages alongside English. So here, some levels, nowadays, if you many classrooms in many states, what happens here is, if you ask them to speak in English, they will speak half in English. The rest of the language must be their own language, their mother tongue or something. If you ask them to speak in their own mother tongue, half of their mother tongue will be English, because they speak half in their language. If you ask them to speak without using any foreign phrases or English phrases in their mother tongue, they will not be able to do, because that much of impact English language has got in our life. So here, it is our necessity to understand the first language ability, his background knowledge about his first language. And many times, there are a lot of language barriers when we teach the multicultural groups. So that means we have to be in a balancing end. Teachers should be in a balancing end. So it helps build confidence. This multilingualism and translanguaging helps build confidence and supports cognitive and cultural connections. And sometimes we must be thinking that whether this multilingualism and translanguaging will help to build confidence. So here, many times, it must be quite challenging. It must be quite challenging to teach. So here, understanding the cultural background of the learners must be quite challenging sometimes. People, those who live in metropolitan cities, that's quite different. So here, we have to understand that in such situations, what we have to do is we have to understand the common cultural background of those people, and we have to connect ourselves with those things. So here, as I said earlier, so if we want to bring them to our world, we should know the entry of their world. So this multilingualism and translanguaging, it helps so the learners build their confidence and supports cognitive and cultural connections. Otherwise, at some point of time, students will not be focusing much on the teacher's instructions. Then, this is something very important, content and language integrated learning. So which combines subject matter and language learning, such as teaching science or history in English. Because it is not only, it combines the subject matter and language learning. So what language which we use to instruct. And, when we are learning the science subjects through English, the vocabulary, the technical vocabulary which we learn, and, it will also add, it will enhance our linguistic and cognitive skills. It will broaden our understanding about language and other subject matters related to that, which is, which this language is using. So for example, so here, so a lot of technical terms, English phrases are there. Sometimes some foreign phrases like French phrases, German, Italian. So here, all these phrases, they have some modification towards the language English. Say, for example, so the word streets, which we see today, the word street, that was originated from the Latin word stratum. Stratum was again modified into the Anglo-Saxon word straits. And again, this Anglo-Saxon word straits, that was modified into the modern English word streets. And if you go to the background knowledge of English, it has got its borrowing from different languages. So we have to, teachers should be very familiar. It is not only with the approaches and methods, we also should have a background knowledge of the word for words and how it was formed. So then, we will get to know how we can apply the modern methods in our classroom, ESL classroom, how we can teach vocabulary in a technical and in a fun-based way. Then pronunciation and intelligibility. So many times there is a question that arises in the mind of English language teachers, as in ESL teachers. Is pronunciation important for the localized instruction? Why pronunciation is required? Why pronunciation is required? It is, in my understanding, now without pronunciation, we cannot learn any of the basic words in our own languages. So when we are very particular about pronouncing the words, so English as a global language, why can't we focus much on the pronunciation? So how to learn pronunciation? So sometimes, like we all have that understanding, students have an understanding. Okay, so how many sounds are there in English? They say that there is 5 sounds, A, E, I, O, U, without thinking about it. And if we talk about again, how many vowels are there? The same answers we will be getting. So there are 44 sounds in English, and out of that, 24 consonants and 20 vowels. Again, it is monophthongs and diphthongs. So we have to teach them systematically. If not, we should have to give some audio lingual method. We have to use some audio visual aids. Audio visual aids will help them to imitate the word pronounced. When you watch movies, so we try to imitate the words. When we stage William Shakespearean plays, and what students nowadays they used to do is they by heart the dialogues, but moreover, they look into the movie version of that particular play, and they learn it, and they try to reproduce it in their own style. So here we talk about the clarity and global intelligibility rather than native-like pronunciation. So here it is not expected to be totally like a native speaker's pronunciation, at least a decent pronunciation, which is not killing the word's meaning. So tools like voice recognition software and phonetic apps support pronunciation practice. We have a lot of applications nowadays to practice phonetics. Because even if you say, okay, if you write a word in Google, so what is the pronunciation of this word? Responsibility. So automatically it will say responsibility. So this is what, so we have many a times, the hi-fi pronunciation will be quite challenging for us to look into it. Okay, sometimes it looks quite funny for speakers of other language. So it is very important that the feeling and the expression that English language provides, that should be known to all the teachers, all the ESL teachers. Then only we can also provide some activities connected to this ESL language atmosphere. Then this is very common nowadays, flipped classroom. So flipped classroom, so what they do, so the students study theory at home through videos, readings, and engage in interactive activities like discussions and projects during class time, rather than traditional way of lecturing method. So they include flipped classrooms. That means the learners will feel that they are included in the classroom activities. They are included in the process of learning. Otherwise, what happens? So they are a part of, they are in the learning process, but they are not included. So the inclusivity is not there. So here, this flipped classroom culture, it promotes active learning and deeper understanding of the text or understanding of the context. The data-driven teaching. So here it is digital tools that provide detailed analytics on learner progress, helping teachers adapt their methods. Say, for example, nowadays, data analysis is very important even in research, even in classroom teaching. When we talk about the 4 skills, when we are preparing our students for IELTS or international examination, so what happened? We are supposed to make them to interpret the data. Even it can be a chart, it can be some graphical representations. So based on the information given in the graph, we are supposed to explain, or we are supposed to describe what is there in the graph. So here, and these are all bringing more involvement in the learners. So it is, they develop their analytical skills, and along with analytical skills, they also develop their language competency. Then continuous assessment and feedback improve outcomes, because now we are focusing on OBE, outcome-based education. So whatever we teach, we should have a proper outcome. So outcome-based teaching and learning is very important in the current the generation. Has been modern teaching of English language. So by the end of the instruction, what I am going to get, or what the student is going to get, whether he'll be able to apply these learning things in their day-to-day life, especially when a student learns a vocabulary. So the application level also must be taught to the students. That is, they should put into their practice. And holistic learning, because every institution, they focus upon the holistic learning, because it combines emotional, social, and cognitive development with language instruction. If we do not focus upon the holistic learning, what happens? So it is institution will not develop, learners will not be benefited by this. And this holistic learning encourages mindfulness, collaboration, and creativity in the classroom. That is, we just include, that is inclusive learning atmosphere we are creating. We are collaborating everyone for certain activities. So there, individually, nobody will feel discouraged. Nobody will get feel cornered. Everyone will get an opportunity to involve in the activity, and moreover, so their emotion, their social and cognitive development. So they will have a social and cognitive development along with the language. So many times, the inclusivity in the ESL classroom is very less. Teachers also do not bother much about the inclusive learning atmosphere. But that is one of the greatest problem that teachers face. We don't get the attention from the students, because we have to make sure that they are also included in the process of learning, especially that is very important in the ESL classroom. Then, so the current that is modern trends in English language teaching, it emphasizes on focusing upon 21st century skills. What are the 21st century skills? We are mixing with some of the soft skills. Say, for example, it incorporates critical thinking. Critical thinking is very important. Then digital literacy, that is mainly for teachers as well as for the students. Then collaboration, and moreover, and problem solving into language learning. That is, what are the language problems an ESL learner is facing, that is to be identified by the teacher. And this prepares learners for real world application. As I told you that we are doing OB outcome-based education. Outcome-based education, it prepares learners for real world applications. We have to apply the things what we learn in our real life, in academic as well as in professional context. Say, for example, so problem solving, some of the skills that is assessed through group discussion. One is communication skills, then problem solving, then critical thinking will be developed, then creative thinking will be identified. So all these things comes under 21st century skills. That is very essential for the current teaching and learning, and especially in connection with the ESL classrooms. So here, so let me put the things in the nutshell. So by the end, so what happens here is modern ELT trends, they emphasize technology integration, learner engagement, and cultural adaptability to meet the demands of today's globalized world. So by embracing all these approaches, educators, because we have to be educators rather than being teachers. Educators can foster effective and meaningful language learning experiences, because educator is not just a teacher. He can be a teacher, he can be a learning facilitator, he can be an innovative motivator, because we have to be very much familiar with the technological advancements. We should know the technology to deal with our current Z generation students. And they can foster effective and meaningful language learning experience, equipping students with the skills they need for success. First, by the important thing that is required for ESL teachers, they need to understand the skills that is required for their learners. So how will you motivate those skills for the learners? That is, we need to use for those kind of things. We need to use all the skills, all the LSRW. Then apart from that, life skills. What are the life skills? We have empathy, we have problem solving, creative thinking, critical thinking. So we have, interpersonal skills. So all these things are needed. All these things need to be inculcated in the English language teaching learning atmosphere. So here they are not only learning the skills of especially communicative skills in English, they're also learning life skills along with the language things. So that is especially the modern ELT trends. They focus as much on the technological integration, and apart from that, it talks about computer oriented things. And we have to open ourselves. That is very important for the teachers. We have to open ourselves for new innovations, especially new approaches that we have to use in our day-to-day learning atmosphere, especially teaching learning process. So, and many a times our teachers will get frustrated, they get irritated by the way students behave, because they feel there is no interconnectedness. The internal connection is not there between the teachers and students because of the content delivery, the style, and the methods they use in their classroom. So what we need to do is we ESL teachers should be open for all different innovations that is effective in executing our teaching learning process in our day-to-day life. So with this, I conclude my presentation. Thank you so much.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
it was a very enlightening lecture,
Thank you. Thank you.
and I hope many of us are having multiple questions.
Yeah.
So I hope the floor is open now.
Yes.
Teachers, would-be teachers, present students, you can clarify your doubts from Sir and your future, make your future teacher career filled with, uh, what to say, filled with excitement. The floor is open. Yes, anyone wants to ask anything?
Professor.
Professor Kalpana?
Professor,
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
good evening to you.
Good
It's
evening.
Navin Raj from Trincomalee, Sri Lanka.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I have two questions. To ask you. Well, question number one: what is the ideal size of the class to teach English? Because you have not said anything specifically about it. What would be the ideal size
Ideal
to
size.
do the justice to the teaching?
That is 30. But the reason why I didn't talk about it is because it is the discretion of the management, the institution. Because in this part, teachers cannot design anything. But an ideal classroom size is 30, so that we can split them into different groups and give them activities. Because 6:5 ratio. 5 ratio.
Okay, Professor, the second question is on the part of teaching how to ask questions to the students. They are there to learn English, and at what point should we introduce the question types, tag question formation, and all that? Because I just want to empower the students to ask any sort of question at any time, so that they will be parallelly traveling with us. If they don't understand, they will also ask the question. But the problem here is we don't teach them how to ask question, so they keep silence, and we take that they understand. So, Professor, can you tell, is it advisable to teach them in the very initial position how to raise questions?
Yeah. So usually, which approach you are doing? That is, are you using tenses to introduce questions?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is the right approach. Actually, when you teach tenses along with that, so did say, for example, when you teach simple past tense, that is how we teach. So that is action verb. Say, for example, a verb run. That is did plus run is equal to ran. Yeah. So this is did you run? So this I did. And this kind of simple task we can give. And most of the cases, what we need to do is we have to give one sample question, and we should ask them to frame more questions. Because it is expected to be a little more inclusive, because when we teachers are asking questions, we teach them how to frame questions, but they do not do it actually. They will listen at a point of time and they will forget everything. And when you listen to their answer scripts, the same errors, I didn't I didn't, what to say, I didn't came. I didn't came. So they will not apply those things. So if you teach with the help of some formula methods how to frame questions for each sentences in each tenses, if you connect through the tenses, it will be very easy for them.
Yeah.
Rather than going with our traditional way of asking questions. Okay, even if multiple times if you teach question tags, it will not reach their minds. So we have to involve them in that activity. There is no other go. We have to put more effort to bring that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope I have given justice towards my answer.
Yeah, but still I have a doubt in the sense, tense, of course, okay, with the tense we can teach them how to raise question. But the inhibition part, the shyness, that also comes into this. Even though they are okay, they are shy to ask whether it will be all right or the others will find it anything wrong in my questioning. That also has a very much embedded in the culture of our Tamil students and the Sinhala students.
And I'll tell you a small thing. So rather than introducing them through the grammar, comprehension, give a text for them to comprehend. And just give a text, don't ask questions. And what you do is you just ask the students individually to frame 5 questions based on
the text.
Initially, they might come up with some mistakes.
Good idea.
Yeah, they will come up with mistakes, but we have to motivate them in a positive way. They can explain the applications, how to frame questions in that. So they get the practical experiences because they are also they are also involving themselves into that task, and they will know the value of it, because many times they do not know the value of it. That is a reason why they ignore the things.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor. That's a good idea. I will try to follow that.
Yeah, sure.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, this is Naresh from Krishnagiri district.
Yes, sir. Tell me, sir.
Sir, you have talked about digital apps and AI now.
Yeah.
Sir, I don't have any knowledge about these apps and AIs. We all know about Duolingo and Grammarly apps.
Yeah.
Where can we teachers learn about these AIs and digital apps? You have any suggestions?
Sir, now n number of applications have been introduced, because I talked about very few applications.
Yes,
so
sir.
If you wanted to survive in this profession nowadays, it is very challenging for English teachers. Unless we know the technological things.
Yes.
Because If we talk about Duolingo, the student will talk about another app.
Yes.
So these kind of things, we have to, at least whether we have the knowledge or not, that's secondary, but we should have to get, we have to explore towards those kind of apps.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Because they should feel that teacher also has the knowledge towards all these applications. Now
Yes, yes.
students are always in the defensive side nowadays.
Hmm.
They try to put the teacher down. So we have to be in a balancing end.
Hmm.
So we need to focus on all these technological things.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Sir, good morning. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible, sir.
Sir, this is Gopinath from Madurai.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Tell me.
what is the meaning of soft skill? In what way it is different from life skill, sir? My third question is, how can we identify the skill gap?
Okay.
These are the three.
See, English in general, it is a language for this. It is a skill develop. It is language for skill development activities. So life skills, it is involved in lifelong learning. There is nothing much different from soft skills and life skills, but here they have renamed it soft skills. We include little bit of skills. That is, when you go for an interview, how we will approach. So life skills, we go deep into it. Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So life skills, we have 10 life skills, 10 to 12 life skills. But see, soft skills, we have the polite way of expressions in English language. Say, for example, we don't apply those politeness in when we speak English in our own way. Say, for example, Tamil. I just wanted to add. I just see when. Would you like to come with me for a movie? That is actually English expression. Okay. So what we generally use is you want to come with me for a movie, or sometimes you're coming with me for a movie. So here, the polite expression comes when we use the right structure that is applied in soft skills. Polite, the polite in expressions and all those kind of things. But here, life skills, it is a deeper level because it is not only dealing with language alone, it is also dealing with the emotions and life, the practicing life tips. So nowadays, once upon a time, what happens? So nowadays, for placement alone, they use soft skills. But for orientation purpose, say for example, student orientation, those who are coming to the institution for the first time, so they are oriented with life skills. All the 10 life skills will be, they will get trained with all the 10 life skills. So here, actually, high demand for life skills nowadays than that of soft skills. And soft skills deal more with language, life skills deal more with emotions and other things.
Sir, there is a term called skill gap, sir. What do we skill gap?
Yeah.
What does it mean, sir?
So skill gap means, see, the thing is whether this particular student is able to achieve that particular skill. That we need to describe our purpose. So when the student is not getting to know about achieve the particular skill, target skill which we fixed, then we understand there is something called skill gap. There is a gap in inculcating those particular skill. Say for example, say it's a simple thing actually, like fill in the blanks when we generalize it, no. So
Yes,
say,
sir. Yes, sir.
putting proposition in a particular sentence. So like that only. So it is easy to identify. So when we are talking about target skill. So, and because as I told you, we were focusing nowadays, Indian education is focusing on outcome based education. So what is a learning outcome? If the learning outcome is not achieved, then we find there is a gap. Then how to fix the gap? First of all, we have to question what are the methods and approaches which we use to introduce the skill, and what is the level of proficiency the student or the learner is having already. And it is a research for the teachers to understand, fix the skill gap. See
Okay,
here,
sir. Thank you, sir.
yeah, okay, sir. Knowledge and skill, they play a different role. It is not only with the knowledge that helps them. Nowadays, it requires the skill.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
But these days people attach much more importance to soft skills. That's why I raised my question, sir.
Because
Wherever we go, we
yeah, because the company needs it. Because sir, the problem is, so in Tamil Nadu, what happens generally, not Tamil Nadu, in everywhere. So we don't use any polite description, because whenever in the corporate atmosphere, we work for a foreign clients. So they expect certain personality traits. They expect certain behavioral aspects from the employees. So how they are interacting. So whether they have the basic politeness, even simple thing. So what we generally do, our TV teachers. So when you say good morning, so good morning, sir. So what we generally do, so we keep our face straight. Good morning, good morning. So that even that is not a right way. The next time, without a smile, when we say good morning to the student will not be in a position to say good morning to you. So that is all. These are all people pleasing process. So soft skills, people pleasing. There is a
okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
client will get attracted towards the employees. That.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, this is Naresh again.
Yes, sir.
Sir, do you find any problem that need to be resolved immediately with this Gen Z students?
The thing is, I told you, if we want to bring them to our world, we have to go into their world.
Yes, sir.
Because otherwise, if we stick on towards our own attitudes, we cannot be a
Yes.
successful teacher, especially dealing with the Gen Z students.
Sir, can you be more specific?
No, like, see what generally we set some objectives in the class when we go for teaching.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
and so we fixed some objective and we wanted the target to be completed. Because
Yes.
in Indian education system, we focus much on before the semester examination, we have to complete the portions. So what happens when we are fixing an objective, but we never bother about the outcome sometimes? It is not
Yes.
our ignorance. It is because of our the target uh, that is put on our head.
Yes, sir.
In such situation, what happens? We fail to analyze this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir, we have this TESOL and B.Ed courses.
Yeah.
Which talks about the classroom management, time management of the previous gen students. Correct?
So, yeah, because like every courses, TESOL or B.Ed, so it is talking about it. But what happened, TESOL, if you go, it is because B.Ed it focus on the localized context. I mean the national level context. So when you go to the TESOL thing, it covers the entire globe. So it also brings out the approaches, modern approaches for English language, activity oriented, gamification, and all kind of things that is they are using. And
Yes.
they are also even in B.Ed and even in TESOL, they are updating day by day. As I said initially, that is we are working for the system. Initially,
Yes.
system is meant for us. Now we are I'll tell you. So when before the system, something like the teachers teach, students learn. Now teachers make the students to learn.
Yes, sir.
So that itself is a challenge for us. How will you make? We are offered with 50 minutes, and initially, and the classroom size is another challenge for the teachers. And most of the institutions, some institutions say the classroom size will be of 60 plus 70 students. Then sometimes, many times, we fail to do whatever we practice. I mean, say for example, whatever we planned. So conducting activities for all the 70 students, it may not be possible many a times. But in the situations, we can at least make sure that so we are introducing those things to our students.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So there's a question by Professor Kalpana in the chat box.
Yeah.
I'll be happy if you could read and answer.
Yes, sir. Let me check.
Sir, I have another question also.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, sir. It's okay.
Sir, I am Kalpana. I'm Kalpana from Virudhunagar.
Got it. Yeah.
Sir, if some student approach you regarding ELT research, what would you suggest? And what is the current trend in ELT research these days?
See here, most of them are focusing, because initially ELT researchers focuses on the linguistic connection base. Say for example, they focus on, they analyze the structure and other things. Nowadays, everyone in ELT research, they focus upon LSRW. And so what are the ways to achieve that? So whether they are implementing new approaches, new methodologies, and experiential learning is very much common nowadays, especially even in ELT researches. Because more than theories, they focuses upon the practical application of the theories. So first of all, they have to fix the particular skill, and they have to go deep into that particular skill. And then they have to come to a conclusion which is opt for them, how to achieve these goals. Yeah. Am I clear, ma'am?
Yeah, understood. And can you suggest some apps which you find very useful for language teaching, especially for people from rural background?
So rural background, I would tell you something. So speaking, there are some, we have British Council's app is there, one language score, English score.
I would like to get the answer regarding, is there any app in which conversation can be done and later on feedbacks can be given? Because I was told that there are some apps.
Yeah,
do you know such apps?
Yeah, there are lot of things are there. Some softwares are there, oral talk softwares and other things. What they do is they do the speaking activity with the system. The computer responses will be given. So, and that is one of the things. And apart
from, can you name the app? Can you name few apps?
Yeah. So even oral talk, it doesn't deal much into it. So oral talk talks about this. Oral talk is not an application; it is a software. Oral talk is.
Can you spell it? Can you spell it? Because your pronunciation is clear, but
ORELL, oral talk. It is a software.
Okay, got it.
Mainly for beginners of English. Okay, so they have they can use imitation. They can do imitation drill rather than going the structural learning of language. And so role plays must be there. They'll be given some dialogues, and what we need to do is first of all, they have to listen to the audio of that particular role play. Then we have to practice it. We have to imitate those things, and that will provide more confidence for the learners, because we are also using this software for our basic level learners. Apart from that, we have advanced level learners, we have assessment examination like Cambridge C1 and other things. But for the basic learners, we are making use of them to practice, especially to develop speaking, because we in language lab, we are not focusing other skills, because we identify the level of the learner and we provide them speaking activities. Because when they do the imitation drill, automatically they will get more confidence. They listen to it and they just repeat the conversation, and that will give more confidence even for especially for rural learners, because they will
Are
not,
these apps paid app?
but they are paid app actually, because institution wise you have to pay. If the institution,
Okay.
yeah, because hopefully the basic version it can be 1.5 to 2 lakhs, I think.
Is there any free app, like what you are telling?
Yeah, free apps. See, nowadays I am in the process of exploring more free apps. So, but even some Duolingo kind of things are common now. And if I happen to explore a little more, because I'm in the process of exploring more apps, even I'm also in the learning stage in this, especially exploring the apps. So if I get to know, I will just share those apps to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Professor, I have some fundamental questions regarding teaching pronunciation. For
Okay.
example, in Sri Lanka, the confusion begins from a very early stage where we introduce the alphabet A and A for apple. But the sound doesn't tally with apple. It may tally with ending, A for ending. But again, the problem, ending starts with E, but it tallies with A. But apple A does not tally with apple. There
Okay.
is another sound for apple, A. But this confusion, when we introduce in the grade 1 or before at the nursery level, then who is going to believe us later in the realm of English teaching?
So for early stages, we cannot teach typical, like phonemes. So we have to make some, like apple. That they are, rather than teaching the spelling, apple.
That was understandable. A for apple. Okay. But we introduce A alphabet, then we tell apple, then first day itself is a confusion for the child.
That is the traditional practices over the years. And
And further, Professor, when we go on the ladder of teaching English, the car ran out of petrol. Then when we teach passive voice, we tell car cannot run on its own. Somebody has to drive it. So car was driven, or car is driven, or car is being driven. Then later we say the car ran out of petrol. It's a confusion, Sadhyano.
Yeah. It is a normal thing. It's a normal confusion for most of the students. So these are all the traditional things that is introduced in language learning. But because that's why it has its own name. So the best thing in early ages we should have to teach, rather than teaching alphabets, we should start teaching the sounds. But our curriculum do not have that practice for teaching the sounds rather than alphabets. So that's
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. I am Malini from Sri Krishna Hambi College, Chennai, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, I have a question, sir. Actually, I even texted it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes, actually, what is your opinion, sir? How to eradicate the idea that English is difficult and very complex, that only we can talk in our mother tongue, unlike others?
Ma'am, a simple thing. So which is the medium of instruction that student has studied before, Tamil medium or?
Tamil medium, sir.
You just ask that person to speak in his mother tongue without using English language for 5 minutes.
Okay.
I'm sure that nobody would speak that. So they apply English words. Yeah, we cannot, because the language is molded by English itself.
Yes.
So,
yes, sir. Actually, one incident happened that during speaking, as in for seminar, to test their speaking skills, I asked them to talk a few lines about themselves.
Okay.
It is the person, she just had the thought that, okay, English, it won't enter my mind, okay, or I cannot apply English in my day-to-day life, or I cannot speak. She is bent upon that thought.
Ma'am, consciously and unconsciously, we are applying English in our day-to-day life. Even an illiterate can have more than 10,000 vocabularies. That is what is the research states actually. Because
Yes,
we say that college, so college, in even if it's in Tamil, we don't say kalluri, we say a college, we say university. So these are all the common words. So the thing is, English is a part and parcel of our day-to-day life. So the thing is like here only activity-based learning will can motivate them. Just say for example, so you should give activities, group activities. They have to talk about a simple thing. So they should involve in the group. Then that the so-called English is difficult will be eradicated, because I have seen a lot of students having the same statement, and even their students directly said that it is the language of the foreigners. Why do we learn? This kind of questions started initially.
yes, yes, sir. And one more thing is that they actually convey it to me, as in not in the class, uh, set aside. They actually say that, ma'am, we are looked down by others who speak really good English, as if we are, as in we don't have that skill, or something is lacking with us. How to just take away that inferiority complex? Could you please help with, sir?
Ma'am, you should give some activity, some introduction, self-introduction, or a simple thing. Now, what I used to do, so there are students in my class also like that. So I used to ask them to come forward. First of all, there is a fear factor that was discouraging them. You have to ask them to say hi to everyone, first of all. It starts from there. Then you just provide a format in the absence of other students. You just identify the learners. You just provide a format. I am fill in the blanks. I come from fill in the blanks. So my hobbies are, so you have to go little more advanced in bringing. So let them prepare with this and ask that person to do that. And in front of everyone, you just appreciate that person to the extreme core. And automatically, and he or she will have the confidence that, okay, am I the one who said this? That kind of question will come to the mind, and it will boost the confidence.
Yes, yes, sir. I even tried the same, but still, this fear is not, as in, I cannot completely eradicate this fear. It's present even, and some actually do not want to try. They still have the thought that, okay, Tamil, fine, I'm okay with that, because it's my mother tongue.
What is the size
Tamil,
of it?
Telugu, or whatever. Yes, it's this. Normally, it is 30 to 33 students, sir.
And that's an ideal size, actually.
Yes.
And you can just identify them, ma'am. Identify them. Just
Yes, a handful of them have the same thought,
but
and I just have to that, like, it's a pretty difficult situation sometimes.
because
And
you can, have you
yes,
tried with some reading activities?
yes, I have applied all the LSRW skills, but still one or two are facing
So
this difficulty.
in such cases, role play will do. Role play, role play would help, ma'am, because simple conversations you can give. Hi, how are you?
Okay, okay, sir, sure, sir. I'll try my
Yeah.
best. Thank you, sir.
But
Thank you so much.
my question is like whether you'll have time to do all those things.
Yes, I have to manage it, sir, alongside the syllabus.
If we can, yeah, because we are syllabus centric thing, we have to complete the syllabus
Yes,
in speculated
yes,
time.
of
But in the
course.
meanwhile, we have to focus on the outcome as well.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Because now they don't understand the importance of English. I constantly tell them that in the first year or the second year, you think that English is useless, no need of it, then later on in life you will suffer. They don't get that point.
Yeah. So we cannot force them, but we can motivate them. That's what we can do.
Yes. Yes, sir. I just take up that only. Just we can take the horse to the pond.
Yeah.
That's all. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Any other questions?
Yes, any more questions?
Yeah, I think,
My dear fourth year, third year student. Okay. Since the flow is silent, let us move into vote of thanks. Anjali?
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. It's my privilege to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Pradeep S. Raj for sharing his expertise and enlightening us about the modern trends in English language teaching. As English is a global language, learning it can be an additional support to be uncovered to the global opportunities. And on the same hand, teaching English is not merely an task to those who are in the outer circles and expanding circles. It will be much more effective using modern trends rather than just sticking onto the traditional trends to teach English. So, sir, your insights on these things were truly inspiring and informative. And you also mentioned about AI and Duolingo, that Duolingo is not that much familiar to Sri Lanka. But after your session, I think the people who were participate in the session would have been much familiar with the Duolingo. And that will be a great support for them to learn and on the other hand, to teach English. And my humble gratitude goes to Dr. Rohan Savadimuttu, Senior Lecturer in English of the Department of Language and Communication Studies of Trincomalee campus. You have always been a person who opens doors to numerous paths and guides us to precious knowledge. So thank you so much for organizing this wonderful webinar and making us meet in a very humble and knowledgeable person like Dr. Pradeep. Thank you so much, sir. So, and also my gratitude goes to the Dr. Naveen Raj, sir, our former head of the Department of Language and Communication Studies of Trincomalee campus, for being a participant in this session. And so also, sir, your insights have always encouraged us also. So apart from that, I would like to thank to all the participants, professors in and out of Sri Lanka, including our undergraduates of the Department of Language and Communication Studies of Trincomalee campus. Thank you for leading this session to the success of making it success by making it insightful and enriching. So thank you all. Have a great day ahead.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Professor Pradeep, sir, thank you very much for this wonderful session. We as a campus are indebted to you. You're doing it free of charge, free of cost, for the love of this country called Sri Lanka. So whenever you happen to visit Sri Lanka, most welcome to Trincomalee.
Yeah, sure.
God bless you.
Thank you, sir, for a wonderful opportunity. Thank you, everyone. It's a great. I'm so happy that this is the first time. Even the beautiful interaction that took place. A lot of questions, a lot of answers.
This is like, because we were not running like a certificate program where you need attendance certificates and participant certificates. So we wanted people who were in real search for answers.
Okay.
So that's why you have a very nice crowd. God bless you, sir. Thank you. Have a good night.